I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my sponsor, P2 Collectibles and Gentlemen Sports Cards, located at 204 East McGalliard Road here in Muncie, Indiana. So next time you're here in Muncie, let us know. Come give us a visit.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Alex from Plus for TCG, and we are here with the main man, Torin, sponsored player, P2 Collectibles sponsored player, and we are going to check out Magicians with a Cool Tech. Take it away.
All right, so yeah, I play Pendulum Magicians. I played this at the Indy Regional last weekend, and that was, of course, before Spirals are about to kick off. So this build, though, is more going into Spirals, so it's not exactly what I played last weekend, but I got 24th with only one match loss. I had 2 draws. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Magician ratios are pretty staple. I did 3 Wisdom Eye. Arguably one of the best cards in the deck. It's your utility scale. Literally becomes whatever you need him to be. And he's pretty easy to get to. 3 Harmonizing. This one is personally my favorite, just because I feel like the synchro plays in the deck are some of the most powerhouse. And Harmonizing is basically a free synchro play, because when it's Pendulum summoned, which it can only be Pendulum summoned from the hand, it just becomes whatever synchro, because it'll special summon any of the other magicians from the deck. 3 Double Iris. Again, really good card. It can be searched off of Duelist Alliance. It's the only magician scale that can. And then, of course, it gives you access to the Broken Trap. I play 3 Black Fang. Some people really hate on this card, but I just love abusing its effect, especially in the battle phase. If you can pop it in the battle phase, or you can ram it in to recover like a time star to get yourself out of a sticky situation, or if you just need a little extra damage to push for game and you can pop this card and revive something from the grave to get that extra damage in for game, it comes in really clutch. Triple Purple Poison, not much explanation there. Great buff, great effect when destroyed. I play 2 Oath Dragon. This card I just felt like was too good to play at 1, because I wanted to be able to utilize it on that turn 1 play to pull a card back and be able to go like into an Omega or a double Omega play. And then I still wanted one in the deck for like a mid-game recovery. I play 1 White Wing. So again, a lot of people don't like this card either, but I also tech in ZARC. Along with that, this is another low scale when the deck is not heavy on low scales. And then I play 3 Skullcrabat Jokers. So again, pretty staple there, being able to search any of the magicians you need, or if you need a Pendulum Sorcerer and Clutch. I play 2 Astrographs. I started off with 3, but I really got to the point where I felt like this card was really bricky going first. If you opened it up, it really takes away from the combo that you really want. I would much rather just have 2 in the deck to be able to search it when I need it, yet hopefully not banish both copies off of Desires. I played 2 Ash. The only reason I played 2 was because I didn't have access to a 3rd. So if I had a 3rd, I would definitely play it. Definitely the card of the format. I play 1 Pensork. I started this off at 2, and again, I felt like it was really bricky when you opened it up. So I'd rather just be able to search it for those situational moments where you need it. And it's another way to access Joker if you don't have another way to pull him out. Especially if you need to pull out a starter card for your next turn to be preemptive. Going to the spells, I played 3 Duelist Alliance. Again, it's just one of those cards that becomes something else you need. So just a very consistent card. I played 2 Star Pendulum Graph. I kind of went back and forth on playing this at 3 because as much as I really wanted to see it, I also didn't want to open up 2. So I went ahead and settled at 2, and it worked out pretty well. Opened it when I needed it, searched it when I needed it, stayed away from it when I needed it to be gone. I played 2 Desires. I'm one of the people that don't want to draw 2 Desires off of Desires. or any desires off of desire. So I just played it at 2 and it worked out pretty well. I actually used this at one point to bait out an Ash because I had a Pendulum call in hand. So I went ahead and just lost the 10 cards and searched out the cards I needed with Pendulum call and kind of went off from there. So that was pretty fun. I mained 2 Cosmic Cyclone.
How did you like that?
I liked it a lot for last weekend, just because there were so many mirror matches. Half my matches in Indy were mirror matches. So maining the Cosmic Cyclones really gave me an advantage to just sit there and hit a scale without triggering their effects. It even helped me in some of the other matchups where, like, Paleo, I was able to banish a trap that they really needed, and the rest were just kind of bluffs. So I kind of got lucky on what I hit, but I'm so glad I did it. And then just like other utility cards that other decks use, it's just really good to have in the main. And I'm probably going to keep maining it going forward, just because, again, it's a non-destruction hit for utility cards on the field, so that just makes it really good. I mained 1 Pendulum call, and I went way back and forth on even playing this card.
I really do.
And it's still a love-hate thing with this card. Like, I understand the need for it, but there's so many times where it hurts, and I ended up siding it out a lot. And I actually even won one of my mirror matches because my opponent played this card. He went second, and he tried to open up with advantage on Pendulum call, and so I just let him search it out, and then he put down his scales. I had already in my previous turn Omega to low scale out of his hand, and he put down his high scale, his low scale, and I went ahead and activated Time Pendulum Graph. And because his scales couldn't be destroyed, I went ahead and got to send his purple poison without destroying it. And he wasn't too happy about that. But he couldn't recover from that because he had already lost too many. Like, just losing 2 low scales, you've already lost too many low scales. So that's it for the spells. I do want to make a note that last weekend I did main 3 Wavering Eyes. Only reason I even put Wavering Eyes in the deck is because of all the mirror matches. Moving forward, as you can see, I'm not putting Wavering Eyes in, and I'm really still debating whether or not it's even going to be in my side deck. Just because I hate the Wavering Eyes battle, honestly. And it really, like, it doesn't net you that much advantage like it did during Pepe format. So it's not as good. It had its time. It's cool that it's off the list, but it's not as good as it used to be. Onto the traps. 2 Time Pendulum Graph. This is really standard. And I agree. I think it's the right ratio. 3 is too much. 1, you can't afford to banish this card, so you've got to be able to see it. And then my own personal trap that I teched in was Floodgate Trap Hole. With the rulings on the EMZ, the extra monster zone, and the fact that a lot of people aren't relying on links right now, except for spirals upcoming, of course. So it might get cut because of spirals, but like this last weekend, this card was so good because if I could activate this and I could permanently set the card in their extra monster zone, unless they had a way to remove that card in their own deck, which a lot of decks really didn't unless you were playing Diagram, it gave me the time I needed to get an OTK board out and just kind of keep them from playing. So really nothing you can do when you can't summon from your extra deck and you still have a full extra deck. But yeah, that was the main deck. 40 cards. Last weekend it was 43 because, like I said, I had the 3 Wavering Eyes in it. Onto the extra deck. My Xyzs were 1 Time Star. I noticed a lot of people started moving to 1, and I had already been contemplating that. And I just agree. You don't need to. You really don't ever go into 2, and he can be recovered off of Black Fang really easy. In fact, your optimal board on your turn 2 ends up popping a Black Fang and bringing him out after you've already brought out like 3 other extra deck monsters. So, and once you get that first turn search anyway, you really only need him for his effect to protect, to send a spellcaster from deck to protect. So, and he doesn't need material for that. 1 Tornado Dragon, easily the best Xyz in the deck. Just the most utility, and I think anybody who plays the deck will agree with me. It just you can summon it against any unknown, and be able to protect from there. Utopia package. I didn't actually go into this, but I'm still glad I had it just because, you know, you get something that's tough to get around. You don't want an effect going off. I saw a lot of other players get into the position where in the mirror match, they would go against a set card in time and they didn't want to attack it because they were afraid it was a purple poison. And I never understood why they didn't go into lightning. So, you know, you go into lightning, you win because they have no resources. You stop their purple poison and then you can just next turn beat them down. I played one Abyss Dweller. Another card I was really back and forth on. I didn't end up going into him at all. I almost went into him in my Spiral matchup, which was my only match loss. Ultimately, it would not have made a difference at all. Even without double Helix, he went off both games. And that was even around a Time Pendulum Graph board and a Tornado Dragon. But yeah, I didn't see any ABCs, which I still don't think I necessarily would have gone into them because A-Core just beats over him. So I'm keeping him in here just mostly for some more Spiral testing, just to see how clutch he can be. But ultimately, he might end up getting cut. One Trapeze. This card, I was able to make the Decode, Trapeze, and Beals board. I made it once, and I had an opportunity to do it again. But yeah, I mean, that's just really good when you can sit there and double attack with Beals and it doesn't get destroyed. And this card's still really good just to keep in here for that Rogue Trickstar matchup. They can't really do what Trickstars do when he's out. And then the last card was a Karn, but going into Spiral format, switching it out for YUGIOH, just because that, you know, big defense, lose one turn is really good. This card does have the potentials to stop Spiral plays if you open it. You just have to make sure you still hit the right thing if you have the other cards to do so. Or if you have this and a Droll Unlock in hand, like, they're done. They can't play. So that was it for the XZs. Going into the Synchros, I played 2 Omega. With that White Wing, you can summon White Wing off of Harmonizing if you have a full board. So if you have all 5 monster zones filled and the EMZ with all level 4s, then you can easily go into a double Omega and then still finish with your Tornado Dragon, Time Star, whatever rank 4 you want. So then ripping 2 cards out of the hand is just really good. I didn't do it on Saturday. I've done it in testing plenty of times. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to pull it off actually at the event. But I still like the idea of the play, especially if you're going to run White Wing. I feel like you need to run a second Omega. But if you don't run White Wing, there's no point to the second one. One Beals. This card came in clutch a couple times. I didn't face any Draco, but I did go up against a Ifrinoid player. And he went first in one of the games, and he opened up the Void Feast play. So I had to work around his negates. And after I did that, he tried sitting on an Inoku because I had my Beals out. But if I didn't have that Beals out, he definitely would have been able to just take me for game. Because he had so many resources in his graveyard, he could have kept recycling through Inoku and Deviati. But this card just stopped all of that. Made him play defensively until I could dig out a Harmonizing Magician. Put the Harmonizing in my scale and give him a 400 buff. So yeah,
run it over.
I guess a backtrack note on Harmonizing. Anybody who says her scale effect is trash, like, no, it's way too like it is so clutch. It is the most clutch effect in the deck.
Less than ideal, but it comes in handy.
It's great. Well, and at one point it even turned my Tornado Dragon into a 2500, which beat over I can't remember what something that someone had. But next one's the Supreme King Clearwing. Just your Regeki and 25 beater that does burn damage. So, I mean, people, after 3 weeks of this deck being the top deck, people still don't know what this card does.
This card's really good.
And yeah, it's really good. Like, I almost wanted to find room for a second one, just so when they got around the first one, I could just bust out a second one and they'd just be like, oh, great, this all over again.
Yeah.
But didn't end up doing that. But yeah, I mean, the one, I definitely summoned him several times. And the last synchro was Ignister. I summoned him a time or two. My opponent was so scared of him though that they stopped him both times in both matches.
Because like going second though, it's really like you have to stop Ignister, otherwise it's going to be a problem.
Pretty much, like you have to stop Ignister, which then kind of lets you go at them with your little monsters. Which in this deck, like the deck can main deck like none other. Just because you get any magician out and you buff it up by that 12 by purple poison, and it's as strong as any extra deck monster you're going to get out there.
Yeah.
So by baiting out whatever they had on this guy, I was still able to go in with the little guys in the main deck and the scale effects and do pretty well.
Nice.
But last weekend, there was another Synchro in here. It was Crimson Blader, just in case for that True Draco and ABC matchup, but I didn't see those at all.
Yeah.
So going forward, I just cut them out for another card coming up. And then, like I said, I teched in the Supreme King ZARC. I had this play set up 3 times. I didn't actually summon him at the event, but I'm really glad I had him set up. The reason why I didn't go into him is just because the turns that you set him up, you do so much in that turn that you pretty much have a game board built already. And so that's what happened. I just got game that turn. But if they had stopped it, if they had stopped like my game winning turn, I'm really glad I had this set up, because then next turn I could just go into ZARC, clear their board, and do what I need to do from there. But yeah, I love playing this card in this deck, especially because this deck can set it up so easy. Because all you need to do is set up a time star, get your search on your turn you summon it, and then send with the time pendulum graph combo on your opponent's turn. And then if they don't realize that they need to get rid of that time star and you still have that time star going into your next turn, you just search again, activate time pendulum graph again, and you have all 4 pieces you need in the graveyard. And one of the cards you search is Aster graph, and you're going to destroy something in your turn to summon Aster graph. Like, it's so easy to bring them out.
Spicy tech of the century.
And then last weekend, this was the only Link I played in the deck. Decode, generic Link 3. He can come out pretty easy. Especially if you ended your turn with Joker and Time Star, and then you have another Joker to set up. You just open up going into him, and then you start doing your plays on your back row, and then Pendulum Summon from there. So you can go ahead and set up more extra deck monsters. He's how you get the Trapeze and Beals combo out. Plus, sometimes you need him with that extra free attack boost for having monsters in the linked areas. So he's still pretty good in the deck. I absolutely recommend, no matter what your build is, to go ahead and just throw him in there. You have the room. And then the card I took Crimson Blader out for going forward is going to be the new Link Magician card. This card, I mean, I like it, not as much as like the rest of the extra deck. It's nice because when it's Link summoned, you get a bounce back whatever's pointing to it. And then if you have anything co-linked to it, you can go ahead and activate your deck, but that effect, I haven't tested too much yet, but that effect just doesn't really seem like it comes up too much. Plus the synergy on it's really nice though, because it is a dark spellcaster, so you can use like your scale effects with this on board. You can pop your double iris, you can pop your purple poison, and get that stuff done. You can recover it off of Black Fang if you really don't have any better options to do so.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, it works. I just, more than anything, I wish the arrows were better.
Yeah.
All the Link 2s we're getting those diagonal arrows, and this one didn't get it. But yeah, so this is what the deck I feel like looks more like going into Link or Spiral format.
It's funny, we're all calling it Spiral format.
Yeah, it's Spiral format. I don't care what anyone says. But yeah, so that's the deck.
Making a G, getting his invite, and appreciate the profile, man. Thanks for showing us what we're going to be looking forward to in the upcoming format.
Yep. See everybody at Nats.